Welcome to the Torre Blanca district of Fuengirola, here in southern Spain. It's named, as many other places on the coast of Andalusia, after its torre, or tower. And here it stands proudly on a hill overlooking the resort and the sea. Torre Blanca, the White Tower. I'm in the process of scripting a video about watchtowers based on the many that have been built along the coastline of Andalusia over many centuries, and I thought I'd start here in Torre Blanca. Well, except that when I got up to the top of the hill to actually record this script, I found that it was blowing a gale, so practicality meant that I had to do the commentary indoors. And there's another catch as well, and this concerns the tower itself, and it's totally thwarted my plan of doing something on the watchtowers generally. To give you an idea of what's going on, let's have a look at the neighbouring structure on the top of this hill. And here it is. A massive advertising hoarding displaying a large black bull. It's so enormous that it can be seen from miles around. It was originally constructed in the 1950s to advertise Osborne sherry, and visible to traffic using the N340 coast road from Malaga to Cadiz, which is just down at the bottom of the hill and going off into the distance. The reason it's been here for almost 70 years is that the Osborne bull has become an iconic symbol of modern Spain, and even though Spain now forbids hoardings of this size, many Osborne bulls have protected status, including this one. But what about the tower next door? Surely there's a clash of cultures between an historic structure and a ginormous expression of advertising modernity. Well, here's the catch. This historic tower is actually around about a decade younger than the Osborne bull, and also many of the buildings in this area as well. Before the mid-1950s, nothing stood on top of this hill, as you can see from this grainy aerial picture from the period. Here's a better photo of the hill, taken again in the 1950s from Los Boliches railway station, and as you can see, there's no sign of the tower or the bull. Now let's look at its 2025 equivalent, and there you have the tower and the bull. And of course, the whole area in front of the hill has been absolutely transformed with lots of modern high-rise buildings. The railway itself was upgraded in 1970 and rerouted from its coastal route from Los Boliches to Torre Blanca, and it now goes in a tunnel under the hill. But the alignment of the station is the same, and so we have effectively the same view 70 years apart. So, if the Torre Blanca is a modern tower, was there an original one? Well, of course, there certainly was. And it was situated on a promontory overlooking the coast about a kilometre away from the replacement Torre Blanca. Here's another photo, again taken in the 1950s, from the base of the hill where the new Torre Blanca is, looking eastward along the former route of the railway and still the route of the N340. And you can see on a promontory, again, around about a kilometre away, an enormous building, an enormous fortification. And this fortification was known as the Torre Reducto de Vela Blanca, or the Torre Blanca for short. The view is now swallowed up by, again, high-rise developments. The tower was heavily fortified and constructed in the 1760s on the site of a watchtower that had already been there since 1479. Here's a picture of it close up from the other side of the promontory. Again, it's a 1950s picture, and you have the N340 road squeezing by in its route around the outside of the promontory. So, what happened to the tower? Well, you probably know what's coming up next, even if you've never been to the Costa del Sol. Let's have a look from the same vantage point in 2025. Yep, you've got it. This huge tower ended up as road fill when the N340 was upgraded in the 1960s, and the westbound carriageway of the Boulevard Carvajal Road now occupies the space. I can't imagine that such a large fortified tower would receive the same fate these days, but those were very different times. The only consolation, I suppose, is that the tower was not unique, and two identical towers in La Cala de Mijas and Marbella still exist. The one at La Cala is pictured here and is a museum. All three towers were horseshoe-shaped and topped with cannons aimed out to sea to repel any invaders, particularly Barbary pirates. They're similar in size and function to Martello towers in the UK. You could see the irony faced by those promoting tourism. That Torreblanca's Torre was now lost because of the onward march of rapidly expanding tourism in the shape of hotels and apartments and infrastructure. In Fuengirola as a whole, 2,000 years of history was rapidly becoming swallowed up by modernity. And that continues up to this day. But in recent years, there has been a much stronger effort to both protect what remains and to emphasise the heritage of the area for the benefit of local people and tourists. And there's plenty to check out if you're a visitor. An attempt to redress the loss of the Torre Blanca after its demolition was to build a replica on this hill overlooking Torre Blanca and Los Boliches during the 1960s, next to what had already become an iconic symbol of the area and of Andalusia, the Osborne Bull. It would have been very costly to build a replica of the huge tower that had been demolished, particularly as there remains an excellently preserved one nearby in La Cala. So, the replica was built to be similar to many other conical watchtowers typical of this coast, although it's slightly smaller and you can see lots of really quite modern building materials in it. It's not the authentic original, but it is now the Torre Blanca, and it stands over the district of Torre Blanca as its landmark. And there you have it, the Torre Blanca. It's well worth a visit, although the footpath up there is a little bit rocky and slippy in places. But when you get there, there's some great views from the top of the hill. So I'll finish by giving you some of them.